Good evening. Shh. There we go. Good evening, everyone. As the voice of God said, I am Mark Roithmeier, the CEO of the Alzheimer's Drug and Discovery Foundation. I am privileged and honored to be the steward of this incredible organization. I want to welcome you to the sold-out 13th annual Connoisseurs Dinner. Woo. We have an incredibly exciting evening for us today, and as I said, we are sold out. It is so wonderful to see dear and longtime friends, who many of which have been to just about all 13 of these events. And it is also wonderful to welcome some incredibly new, fantastic, and exciting new friends who are funders of ours that you're going to be hearing all about tonight. It is truly a privilege for me to introduce one of our most ardent supporters. She's a longtime member of the ADDF's board, a 9-time Emmy Award-winning journalist, and the host and executive producer of Discovery ID's On the Case with Paula Zahn. She also hosts PBS NYC Arts every Thursday night. Can't miss TV on Channel 13, repeated on Sundays also. Big fan, big fan. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the wonderful Ms. Paula Zahn as our host this evening.
Thank you, Mark, for that lovely plug. I really appreciate that. Good evening, everyone. It's so great to see all of you. On behalf of the Alzheimer's Drug Discovery Foundation and its founders, Leonard and Ronald Lauder, who are here tonight, along with members of their families. Their families usually make the most noise. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 13th Annual Connoisseurs Dinner. Just show of hands, how many of you been here for all 13? I have been. Yay! Nice to have you all back. First, let me start off by saying this new space is beautiful. And on behalf of the ADDF, we would like to recognize Tad Smith, President and CEO of Sotheby's, and his wife, Caroline Fitzgibbons, for generously hosting ADDF's special celebration in this very special place. Congratulations on this elegant and amazing transformation. And thank you for supporting us for so many years. I don't know exactly where you're sitting, but thank you. We would also like to recognize the leaders who made tonight possible: our executive chairs, Joe Carroll and Ronald S. Lauder. You could just keep on clapping. Judy and Leonard Lauder. Liz and Randall Sandler. Our founding chair, Nancy Corzine. Our co-chairs, Nancy and Melvin Goods. Calvin Klein Family Foundation. Julie Opperman. Ann and Chris Race. Samuel Newhouse Foundation, Inc. We thank you all for your hard work and commitment to ADDF's mission, which is to fund and find drugs to prevent and treat Alzheimer's disease. Last year, we marked a milestone for ADDF. It was its 20th anniversary. We celebrated its history and all of the hard work that supports the science and the drug discoveries. And tonight, we are celebrating another great moment for ADDF, where we are now and the new directions ADDF is taking that will get us there quicker. Just 1 year ago, ADDF created the Diagnostics Accelerator. It is a very ambitious program that brings together the world's leading philanthropists to fight Alzheimer's, starting with a better way to actually diagnose people. Tonight, we are celebrating the 1-year anniversary of this incredible program and recognizing the core funders who made it possible. We will also be announcing the first scientists to receive awards from their exciting research. In addition to the science, we are here to acknowledge and honor humanity and our common bonds. A very special guest speaker, Michelle Florin, will share her moving, very heartfelt, very raw, and personal story. But to kick off the program, I'd like to introduce one of the core funders of the Diagnostics Accelerator, Leonard Lauder. And just a year ago, a conversation between Leonard and Bill Gates led to this monumental research effort, bringing together an outstanding coalition of philanthropists to challenge the research community to develop cutting-edge diagnostic tools. Now it is my great privilege and honor to introduce ADDF's co-founder and co-chairman, Leonard Lauder.
Thank you, Paula, and good evening, all of you. I have to thank Tad Smith, who's sitting over there in table 9, and Mark Rothmeyer, who you just met, and Sotheby also for doing this, for hosting this for us tonight. And Dr. Howard Phillip is in there somewhere, our scientific director and co-founder. But, how's it? In 1998, my brother Ronald and I took on a cause. The cause was to end Alzheimer's. And Ronald is with us here tonight, and he's going to come up later, but I want you to give him a big round of applause. He's over there, I think, at table number 10. Ronald, please stand up and wave. Ronald. The two of us pay 100% of the overhead of ADDF, so that every penny and every dollar that you give to Alzheimer's, ADDF, goes directly to research. It doesn't go to anything else. So, Ronald, thank you. So it's now 20 years later, and it takes a long time to really get started, but started we are today the largest private foundation devoted to Alzheimer's. And we are the #1 and the go-to place, thanks to all of you. Thanks. But we're not at the top of the mountain yet. We're just at the base camp. We just started to climb because there's so much more to do. Now, why? The human brain is one of the most complex things in the world. It is more complicated than putting an astronaut in space. So we are a pure play. We don't want to be diverted from what we're doing. We want to just focus on a drug discoveries. And we have gone the wide world to find people who are with us and who we can support. Firstly, so this year marks the first anniversary, as Paula mentioned, the beginning of our Diagnostics Accelerator. Now, we have some of our partners here. I'd like you to applaud them, please. We have the Dolby family there, the Charles and Helen Schwab Foundation, the Fidelity Foundation, the Association for Frontotemporal Lobe Degeneration, and most recently, Jeff Bezos and Mackenzie Bezos. We're making great progress. So, in the last 20 years, we have funded about 600 projects in 18 countries, and 66 of those projects were vital clinical trials. Now, we go from Ireland to Israel, from Sweden to Spain, and from the UAE to Taiwan, a total of 18 different countries where we have sponsorships. Why? Because Alzheimer's knows no political parties, knows no national boundaries, knows no ethnicity. It just knows the human being, and we are going to cross all those political boundaries and all the things that are in the way of getting a cure for you. So my pledge to you is that we will find the right cure for Alzheimer's, and because everyone has a life worth living, and everyone needs to have dignity in their life. So that's my pledge to you. We will find the cure for you. Thank you very much. Who am I supposed to introduce? What? Who? Paula. Oh, Paula. Thank you for my notes. What you are living with is a very unprofessional Leonard Lauder. I'm better than that, I promise. Paula, where are you, dear?
I thought you had gotten tired of me already, Leonard.
No, never.
Thank you. Now, when you hear Leonard speak, aren't we happy to be some of his foot soldiers on the ground? Yes, we are. There is no better way to share the heart and soul of an organization than through powerful words and film. And you are among the first to view the brand new ADDF video through the stories of scientists and families affected by Alzheimer's. And I think this film speaks to ADDF's innovative approach to drug discovery and the unique minds behind it, the drive, the hopes for the near and long term. I was thrilled to be part of it along with other board members, and now it is my pleasure to share with you ADDF's story.
Mel was reluctant initially to tell friends that he had Alzheimer's. When you become an Alzheimer's patient, it's all about the disease, and he's so much more than that. My husband was CEO of a drug company. He brought Lipitor to market, which is the biggest selling drug of all time. My husband was very philanthropic and a very wonderful, outstanding man. I'm now an ambiguous widow. I have a husband, but I don't have a partner.
Is the kind of disease that can break a family apart, or in a very beautiful way, bring everyone together?
The Alzheimer's Drug Discovery Foundation is the only nonprofit solely dedicated to the discovery and development of new drugs for Alzheimer's disease and related dementias. Investors shy away from early-stage drug discovery because of the risk, but that's where philanthropy really can play a very important role. Our model is unique because Ronald and Leonard Lauder underwrite all of the overhead of the foundation. Any donation, 100% goes to the development of new drugs.
The pathology of Alzheimer's disease is really identified by amyloid in plaques. The vast majority of late-stage clinical trials supported by pharma industry has been focused on amyloid.
But it's not proving to be druggable, and it may not be a good drug target for Alzheimer's. If you consider that aging is the leading risk factor, now's the time to translate that knowledge into the development of new drugs. And that's our scientific strategy.
ADDF recognized early on that this was a complex disease and it needed to be approached from multiple angles until we figure out what might be effective. And they were really the first entity to do that.
What's always interested me in the ADDF's venture philanthropy is that the organization can be a risk taker, able to back great science or a great idea and have the time frame to nurture that to a drug or science innovation.
We will fund the most promising research anywhere in the world.
Today you have Bill Gates and other generous philanthropists seeing that this is the pathway to finding a cure.
There are so many drug programs today that we started, which have gone on to progress through the drug pipeline. Michaela Gallagher has one of the very few drugs in phase 3 today for Alzheimer's disease, and one of the only drugs that's not an amyloid program.
Alzheimer's disease is driven by neural overactivity, and we have a drug that decreases that overactivity back to normal.
If the drug works, you might delay or prevent the progression to dementia where people become really impaired.
I don't think I would be doing what we are without ADDF.
I'm passionate about creating therapies to treat so-called uncurable brain diseases. Our drug is currently in a phase 2A trial in patients with mild to moderate Alzheimer's disease. The ADDF support for our work has made all the difference in the world from the very beginning.
These drugs that Frank has could be useful not only for Alzheimer's, but for many other neurological disorders. We've been funding Dr. Ron Crystal, one of the world's leading experts in gene therapy. We're hoping that we'll at least be able to delay the onset of Alzheimer's, if not prevent it with this kind of gene therapy.
One of the real advantages of working with the ADDF is the speed in which they can move. We could not do this without them.
60% of the time, dementia experts in the United States get the diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease wrong. The first diagnostic test approved by the FDA for Alzheimer's disease, the Amyvid scan, was a test that we funded. The scan has been termed revolutionary in the leading neurology journal in the world. The goal of the Diagnostics Accelerator that we're doing with Bill Gates and a lot of other prominent philanthropists is to develop blood tests, eye tests, digital tests that are going to be inexpensive, rigorous, and accurate for early detection of Alzheimer's disease in clinical practice. Alzheimer's is already the most expensive disease in the United States. The number of people with Alzheimer's disease is going to triple in the next 2 or 3 decades. If we could delay the onset of Alzheimer's by just 5 years, we would reduce the number of people with Alzheimer's dementia by 50%.
If we don't do this now, it's going to be catastrophic. Financially and emotionally, I know what it does to a family.
I'm a supporter of the ADDF because they will find the cure for this disease.
I'm optimistic, okay? I've been at this 40 years. We've had cancer and diabetes and hypertension research for almost 100 years. We've had research on Alzheimer's going on for about 35 years. On the positive side, we've made incredible strides.
Someday when we have a treatment that works, I guarantee that if we look at the early stages of that project, you will see the footprints of ADDF.
Who loves you?
Oh, again?
As we saw in the short film earlier tonight, Alzheimer's disease can be cruel and very hard on a family, but in a beautiful way, it can bring families together. My 95-year-old mother has Alzheimer's. She was diagnosed with it about 7 years ago, and like many of you whose families have Alzheimer's, it has been a devastating journey. My once fiercely intelligent mother, who spoke 6 languages fluently and who was blessed with a wonderful sense of humor, has been greatly diminished by the disease. She hasn't recognized any of us, any of her 4 children in many, many years. And that very bright light she had in her eyes, Susie, you remember that bright light my mother had in her eyes? It's all but gone. And it has been very, very hard on all of us. We miss her optimism, we miss her wisdom, we miss her wit, and mostly we miss her love. And I think many of you in the room here tonight understand the heartbreak of losing someone you love, not being able to share conversations or special moments with them, with your mother, your father, whoever it is who is afflicted with disease. And I think you sometimes take that for granted until you see this horrible disease take hold of someone you love. And Michelle Florin is a young woman who lives these emotions, sadly, every day. Her mother developed early onset Alzheimer's at the age of 54, and somehow Michelle, as you will see, has found a way to remain positive and has turned that hardship into a heartfelt tribute to her amazing mother. It is my privilege now to welcome to the stage Michelle Florin.
Thank you, Paula, and thank you all for coming tonight. I used to believe that Alzheimer's was literally pronounced old-timers. I thought that losing your memory was a normal part of aging, that one day everyone would get old-timers. The truth is, Alzheimer's does not just affect old people, and losing your memory is not a normal part of aging. On January 1st, 2015, I found out my mom, Jackie Florin, had been diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's at the young age of 54. We knew something was wrong, and while my family was not surprised by the diagnosis, we were heartbroken as we embarked on this painful journey. Since that day, I've written over 30 letters to my mom that I know she will never read. not because she doesn't want to, but because she can't read. Tonight, I'm going to share excerpts from my letters to my mom. Dear Mom, I'm having one of those sleepless nights. If I could, I would wander into your room so I could spill. I would tell you that I'm worried about losing you and worried about David and Dad. I think about all the wisdom you would share with me if you could. You would tell me how lucky I am to have had a healthy version of you in my life for 21 years. How fortunate we are to have Dan and Natalie, your amazing companions and caregivers. You would tell me that even though some days it feels like there's a dagger plunging through my heart, in the end it will be okay and that being resilient is the only option. I tell you that I love you beyond words, you are my sunshine, and nothing will ever change that. Dear Mom, today Dad bought you a bracelet. You pointed to the window 3 separate times while walking on Madison Avenue. You were so happy that you gave Dad a kiss. You are rarely able to string together the 3 words, I love you, yet your unconditional love for Dad came shining through today. Dear Mom, sitting at a funeral today, the women in attendance, all around your age, were buzzing about their lives, catching up on events big and small. I sat with you and held your hand as we listened quietly to the eulogies and prayers. Every so often, you'd whisper that you needed to pee, but then would gesture that you could hold it in. And in that moment, the contrast between you and the other women was evident. Some days it's easier to keep moving forward, but often we're reminded of how much we've lost. You were robbed of friendships, Tony Awards, independence, and basic skills, but somehow you're still able to make us smile and laugh till our stomachs hurt. We're grateful for your sense of humor. Dear Mom, you once told me that when people lose someone they love, they push others away when they need them the most. I'm experiencing that now. As you decline, we're forced to learn to grieve again and again. I lost you at 22 when you forgot my birthday and our mother-daughter shopping plans. I lost you a year later when you didn't remember where you were going when you left the apartment and didn't understand how to ask a stranger for directions to get home. I lost you when you stopped forming full sentences and started needing help in the shower. As the disease progresses, we have to keep learning to let go. I feel like I'm living 2 lives. One is your caregiver, and one is a 26-year-old young woman in New York City. It's exhausting to balance friendships, my career, and caregiving. Most 26-year-olds don't think about how their mom won't know their grandchildren and likely won't be at their wedding. They don't tense up each time the phone rings thinking it might be an emergency. They've never comforted their crying mom who can't stop asking, what is wrong with me? I feel lonely because no one understands, because of course they can't understand. Dear Mom, you tried to communicate something to me tonight. You pointed to me and said, you do it, and I do it, and then babbled some gibberish. I believe you were pointing out our role reversal as I helped you get changed. You were so confused and upset because you couldn't figure out how to take off your pants. And I tried not to cry, but I couldn't help it. During my toughest nights, the feelings are so heavy, the emotions so intense, it's like a bad dream, and I'm still waiting to wake up. Dear Mom, the past few months have been extremely difficult as you decline quickly and the confusion increases. You've been hallucinating and asking to go home every day. You can no longer use a fork and have been eating less and less. And while we are beyond lucky to have Bernie, a live-in caretaker who you seem to trust, it is heartbreaking to accept that things will get more challenging because of the degenerative nature of this disease. Nevertheless, every day I hold on to your smiles and your laughs. I channel your positive energy and bravery because we need it. We're navigating uncharted waters without a map. Dear Mom, I often wonder what happens when it's me. I try my best not to go down the rabbit hole, but some nights the fear is too strong. I don't want my future husband and children to experience what I'm going through. I don't want the people I love to feel this pain if I develop Alzheimer's one day. I'm hopeful that we are closer to a cure than ever before. And unfortunately, all we can do for you is create the most comfortable environment with the best care. Your safety, happiness, and quality of life will continue to be our priority. But there is hope for the future generations. You taught me to use my voice, and I'm using it to help your future grandchildren and their children, and I'm going to use it until no one suffers the way you're suffering. Dear Mom, tonight I shared my story with 300 people. I'm holding a letter you wrote to me at summer camp over 10 years ago. You wrote, "You are so brave, and I'm so proud of you. You are my sunshine." Without those encouraging words, I wouldn't be able to stand up here and speak. Mom, despite this disease, you are my ray of sunshine, and I will always love you to pieces. Love always, your daughter, Michelle. As many of you know, thank you. Thank you. As many of you know, Alzheimer's impacts families and communities deeply. Each day is a roller coaster of emotions, so my family and I are thankful for every good day. I'm also thankful for my incredible support system, my friends, family, and especially my dad who is here tonight. Thank you for being my rock. Thank you to the ADDF for hosting this beautiful event and for all of your hard work. I'm hopeful that with the right resources and research, we will soon find a cure for this horrific disease, maybe even in our lifetime. Thank you for asking me to speak and letting me share my story. And finally, thank you all for coming tonight.
Well, Michelle, I wish we in some way could let your mother know what an amazing daughter she has raised with a very beautiful, deep soul. Wow. I think I speak for everyone in this room when we say we greatly admire your courage and your beautiful, beautiful spirit. All right, so back to our program here. Following on what Leonard told us earlier tonight. Silencio, por favor. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We have a lot of exciting things to share with you, a lot of cutting-edge science, so we're going to keep on moving here. We watched a video that features cutting-edge discoveries, and we've been deeply touched by Michelle's speech and her letters to her mom. And that's why we're here to celebrate the one-year anniversary of the Diagnostics Accelerator. This exceptional new program will help make it possible to easily detect Alzheimer's, speed up the pace of discovery, and open the way to new treatments. Now, when you have Bill Gates behind such an effort, it certainly speaks volume about the organization. And as you will see, he is very excited about this amazing program. Unfortunately, Bill could not be with us tonight, but he sent this very special message. So please listen to Bill Gates.
Good evening. I'm sorry I can't be with you all tonight. As you know well, the human and financial cost of Alzheimer's disease has a gigantic effect across the country and around the world. Thanks to your support, we're closer than ever to finding an end to this devastating disease. In order to advance our understanding of Alzheimer's and develop an effective therapy, we need a simple, non-invasive test to easily and accurately identify patients at the earliest stages of disease. That's why I'm incredibly proud of the Diagnostics Accelerator and its partnership with Alzheimer's Drug Discovery Foundation. I'm inspired by all the support for the ADDF, including the commitments from the Lauder, Dolby, Schwab, Bezos, and Newhouse families, and the Fidelity Foundation. As you'll hear tonight, the Diagnostics Accelerator has already seen an exciting set of new ideas from the research community that will bring us closer to a reliable, affordable, and accessible diagnostic for Alzheimer's disease. Congratulations to those recipients of the first Diagnostics Accelerator Awards. This is an area where we need to think creatively to accelerate the discovery of scientific breakthroughs now more than ever. Alzheimer's and other dementias are particularly difficult diseases to take on, but the brilliant minds working to move us forward make me hopeful for the future. Thank you again for your partnership and support.
Thanks, Bill. Oh, that's so much fun to say. Thanks, Bill. He's a remarkable guy. I have such great admiration for him. And the ADDF is truly grateful for the generosity of Bill and Leonard and all of the philanthropists of the Diagnostics Accelerator program. So I would like all you shy people whose names I mentioned to please stand up, who we are so grateful for your generosity. Let's start off with the Dolby family. Charles, thank you. I'm glad you stood up. The Charles and Helen Schwab Foundation. Woo! Don Newhouse and the Association for Frontotemporal Degeneration. Representatives of the Gates team. Yay, yay, woo! And the Fidelity Foundation, and Jeff and Mackenzie Bezos, who could not be with us here tonight. Another round of applause for all of you wonderful people. On behalf of the ADDF, I'm also excited to announce tonight the very first 4 awardees of the Diagnostics Accelerator program. These investments represent the best of the best from around the world. These brilliant scientists were selected out of nearly 300 letters proposing new diagnostic strategies from 30 countries on 6 different continents. And their research will be advancing the study of simple blood tests and eye scans to detect early signs of Alzheimer's disease. Saliha Moussaoui and Hussein Farhat of Amaneta Diagnostics, based in France, for developing a rapid, non-invasive diagnostic blood test to predict mild cognitive impairment and early Alzheimer's disease. Kai Blenau, MD, PhD, University of Gothenburg in Sweden. Yay! Dr. Blenau's team is developing the first ultrasound-sensitive blood test for brain-specific tau. This protein is the main component of the tangles in the brain that pathologists see in the diagnosis of Alzheimer's upon autopsy. Tom McIlvray, PhD, University of Edinburgh, Scotland. Are you here tonight? I can't remember if you're here or not. Bravo anyway. His study employs a novel combination of retinal biomarkers capturing neurodegeneration and vascular dysfunction, often found in Alzheimer's disease, with advanced imaging analysis. Peter Weingarten, PhD, Center for Eye Research, Australia. His research and his study will test a simplified eye scan, which can detect amyloid in the retina prior to signs of cognitive decline. And 2 of these awardees, now I can remember who is here with us tonight, who have traveled all the way from France and Sweden. Dr. Hussein Farhat is here representing the Amaneta Diagnostics team. And Dr. Blenau, you can stand up again from the University of Gothenburg. Bravo. These 4 announcements are just the beginning. By the end of the year, the ADDF expects to announce some 12 awards totaling more than $10 million. And by the end of 3 years, $50 million in pursuit of blood tests and new biomarkers for Alzheimer's. And that is pretty darn remarkable, isn't it? Right now, I'm going to have join me on stage someone who really is the scientific architect of ADDF's Diagnostics Accelerator, Dr. Howard Fillett. He is a, wait, you got to hear all these wonderful things about him. He's a geriatrician, neuroscientist, and an innovative philanthropy executive who has served as the executive founding director and chief science officer of the ADDF since its founding. He is also a clinical professor of geriatric medicine and palliative care, medicine and neuroscience at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. And I also have to tell you something. He consulted on my mother's case, and he is really a tremendously compassionate man and really helped my family through some very dark days. So we're grateful for all of those wonderful attributes. Dr. Phillip.
Thank you so much, Paula. And thank all of you for being here tonight on the celebration of the first anniversary of the Diagnostic Accelerator that you've heard much about tonight. Never in my wildest dreams could I have imagined that we would come so far in these last 20 years. When I started med school in 1970, almost 50 years ago, senility was thought to be a normal part of aging, and there was nothing in my textbooks about the disease, and I never made the diagnosis in anybody. I never heard of it, and nothing was known about Alzheimer's disease. We've come so far. Today, we have FDA-approved diagnostic tests that ADDF played a critical role in bringing to market, and we have a diverse pipeline of over 100 drugs that ADDF is playing an important role in advancing. In just this past year, ADDF has grown from a $20 million organization to over $60 million in annual revenue. We've been chosen, as you have heard, by some of the world's most prominent philanthropists after their due diligence around the world, including, as you've heard, Bill Gates, Jeff and Mackenzie Bezos, David Dolby, the Charles and Helen Schwab Foundation, Donald Newhouse, and the Association for Frontotemporal Dementia, to whom we're very grateful for their partnership. Our path to today began 20 years ago when Ronald Lauder recognized the problem we faced, had the idea to start ADDF, and asked me to be the scientific founder. With the support and foresight of Ronald and his brother Leonard, I was given a desk and a chair, some money, and an incredibly clear mission with 3 pillars: to develop biomarkers to accelerate drug development for Alzheimer's disease, to find and fund the testing of new drugs, and to develop ways to prevent the disease. And those 3 pillars have been a clear and shining light for our organization. Tonight, the product of that prescient vision from the Lauder family is clearly evident, and I ask that we give thanks to our founding co-chairmen, Ronald and Leonard, for their unwavering commitment and support of the ADDF for the past 20 years. The venture philanthropy business model we created was designed to address the financing gap in drug development for Alzheimer's disease, which still exists. Our 8 full-time scientists are constantly searching the world for new ideas, helping investigators to design their studies, performing due diligence, and monitoring progress. In the past 20 years, we've seen over 6,000 ideas for new drugs. We've made over 600 investments, totaling almost $130 million in academic programs and biotech companies throughout the world in 18 countries. From the beginning, we've been scientifically innovative, and we've taken risks. We have not taken the usual path. We've not funded amyloid. We've based our scientific strategy on translating the leading risk factor for Alzheimer's disease, which is aging, into new therapeutics. Always one step ahead, always pushing the envelope of innovation. A few years ago, Ronald realized that it was time for us to shift our focus to clinical research in humans. Up until then, we had been supporting primarily preclinical research, testing drugs in animals. Our field as a whole had cured mice at that time over 500 times, but the results weren't leading to success in humans. Recognizing that Alzheimer's is a uniquely human disease of the human mind, Ronald saw that our focus needed to shift to testing drugs in clinical trials. And so, thanks to Ronald's foresight and leadership, last year, 80% of our funding went to supporting clinical trials. We are currently supporting the active development of over 35 new and innovative drugs, the largest and most diverse philanthropic portfolio in the world. More than half of ADDF's clinical trials are in phase 2, when drugs are first tested for efficacy. Some have recently already reported positive results, and more will be reporting soon. The creation of the Diagnostics Accelerator last year fits well with our clinical shift. We need blood tests that will revolutionize Alzheimer's disease, the same way that a blood test for cholesterol revolutionized heart disease, and genetic biomarkers have revolutionized cancer chemotherapy. My passion for our mission is personal. My own father died of Alzheimer's disease just a few years ago. In the past 40 years, I've cared for literally thousands of people with the disease and their loved ones. My patients' stories are all as heartwarming as Michelle's, Paula's, and many of you in this room. They are our inspiration for the work that we do. I have been extremely fortunate throughout my career to work with great mentors, both physicians and scientists. Ronald and Leonard have both been extraordinary mentors to me as a philanthropy executive, and I am very grateful to both of them for all they've given to me, to the ADDF, and to the world at large. And so it is now my great honor to have the privilege to introduce Mr. Ronald Lauder to you. Ronald has had a lasting impact on our path to a cure. ADDF was Ronald's vision, and because of Ronald, ADDF continues to lead the way. Thank you very much.
I was hoping to kiss Paula. Thank you, Howard. And my deepest thanks to all of you who are here tonight. And those of you who have to go to the bathroom, I understand. And those of you who are not here, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and the many funders who have donated millions of dollars to help us reach our goal, a cure for Alzheimer's. You've heard a lot of medical terms and phrases tonight. Diagnostics Accelerator, amyloid, clinical trials, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Understanding the definition of this terminology is less important than learning how ADF is using some of these amazing tools, innovation, to find a cure for Alzheimer's. So let me try to simplify all this and put it in plain English, something I can do for you with my medical degree from the Wharton School of Finance. This organization, ADDF, from its very start, has been defined by risk-taking. We think big, we think bold, we go beyond traditional borders, setting new directions and new frontiers. So imagine a test given to a child. He or she is handed a piece of paper and a box of crayons. Right there. On this paper, there is a diagram, a simple rectangle, and the directions are really equal, are very simple. Draw something, whatever you want. If a child draws carefully within the confines of the box, that child will, no doubt, become a successful lawyer more probably a politician. But if the child attacks the paper with enthusiasm and energy and comes up with something like this, well, you now understand what ADDF is all about. Big, bold, and definitely beyond the boundaries. Thinking literally outside the box. Myself personally, I've never been in the box. Doing things no one has ever done before. That was the thinking that motivated Leonard and I to create this foundation. Someone, somehow, had to try something new because 20 years ago, we weren't getting anywhere for finding a cure for this terrible disease. And that is why ADDF was founded. And we found a much diverse group of scientists, like Michaela Gallagher, Frank Longo, and Ron Crystal, all featured in the video you saw tonight. Their research is going strong and gives us all reason to be hopeful. By the way, going back to that child with the crayons for a moment, if she or he comes up with something like this, well, I'm not sure we want them in drug research. But I would definitely, a good place to tell it, advise you to buy their work. The bold thinking that we projected 20 years ago at the start of ADDF is what led Bill Gates, along with Jeff Bezos and his brother, and my brother, and some of you in the audience, to create Diagnostics Accelerator that I mentioned earlier, which, in plain English, is a blood test that will make our clinical trials more efficient. Here is the reason why most drugs have failed up until now and why the Diagnostic Accelerator is so important. Most scientists have been trying to arrest or slow down the disease. You can do that, but that's not the way you will find a cure. Once Alzheimer's has already started, the destruction of the brain is so extensive that it's impossible to repair it. Think of it this way. Once something is broken into 1 million pieces, it takes so much effort to put it back together. The key here is to stop it before it's broken. And that is what makes ADF different from most other organizations working on Alzheimer's. We are using biomarkers and the blood tests from the Diagnostic Accelerator to determine if a person is susceptible to contracting Alzheimer's, sometimes 10, 20, or 30 years before it starts. Through new work with gene therapy, we're able to arrest the disease before it starts to destroy the brain. But is what I want you all to remember. The cure will only come in the years before the disease starts, and that is one of the fields that ADF is concentrating on right now. The Diagnostic Accelerator will help us pinpoint that moment, years before Alzheimer begins the destruction of the brain. Right now, there is a biomedical company that believes Alzheimer's can be traced to the same bacteria that some people have in their teeth. If we can find a connection between this bacteria and Alzheimer's, this may be one of the ways we find a cure. We have equally other innovative drugs that are working on a whole new range of possibilities. That is what makes ADF so exciting. I know there are people in this room who have been with Leonard and I from the start. Some have joined us during this time, and there are some of you here tonight who are contemplating joining us. We are the cusp of something truly profound. First, finding out when someone will get the disease, and second, finding a way to stop it. Many thanks to each and every one of you in this room. We'll get to our goal. We will see the day when families are no longer torn apart by this devastating disease. We will stop the heartbreak that so many of you in this room have suffered, watching loved ones lose their dignity into that strange twilight, not death, but certainly not life. Leonard and I don't want any of the families to suffer the way you have already. This is my promise to all of you. Leonard is right. Leonard, you're right. We will find a cure, but we will find that cure in a way we never expected. And that's what we do at ADDF. We do the unexpected. I've said this before, and with it once again. You will never give money to a more worthwhile and noble cause. This I can guarantee you. Thank you, and God bless each and every one of you for what you're doing. God bless you. Thank you.
All right, newsflash for you. The event has raised $2.4 million. But Houston, we have a problem. You're not going to believe this. We've had a glitch. And you all have been so honorable and so generous. We don't know how this happened, but for all of you that bid anywhere from $1,000 to $100,000 and did not fill out a card completely on the table, we're going to lose your donation. So I know this is a pain, but if you don't think you filled out the card completely and you were one of those donors, did I get this right, Jenny? Am I saying this correctly? We need you to fill out the card again before you run off. So I'm just going to be really brief as I bid you adieu. Thank you for your incredible generosity. Thank you for joining our team at ADDF. And we are so grateful for your support and your patience with filling the cards out again. The Lauders and all the other sponsors this great evening, congratulations, and thanks to all of you for joining us tonight. Fill out those cards.